What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Eclectic Collector channel. I think you know what time it is. It's that time of the month when we do a haul video. So it's been a couple of months since the last one, and I think we're about due. I think we're about due for a new haul video. So I want to say like 60 something volumes of manga here that I want to go through, including a box set, and I want to talk about it all with you all, and I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just jump right into it. We're going to start with small single volumes first, and then at some point we'll do some hardcovers. I got some Spanish volumes as well that I picked up, and then I got some thick omnis that are paperback as well, so we'll go through all of it and we'll talk about it. And I'd love to know what you've picked up, so let me know in the comments what manga you've recently picked up. Have you done any hauls yourself? What have you collected in those hauls, or what are you currently reading? What you got going on? Let's talk. Right off the bat, we got Boys Abyss Volume 3. This just dropped right now in like October, the month that just passed. We're in September. We're in November, actually. We are now in November. This dropped in October. I pretty much read these as soon as they drop. Like, literally, like the day that I received this. I was already reading it. As soon as it was in my hands, I've read it, and it's so impossible to put this series down. Every time there's a new volume of Boys Abyss, I immediately read it. Now, this is a phenomenal series. This is a super adult series. It's like you feel like a voyeur looking into these people's sordid lives, and it just gets progressively worse. I would 100% recommend this if you are an adult, because it is super adult. We got Kowloon Generic Romance, Volume 4. I did a video about this series a long time ago, probably like a year ago at this point. This is a good series. There's a lot of like random stuff that sort of happens. It takes place in like a futuristic Kowloon, which was a city that existed in China in like the 80s or whatever and was razed to the ground. But yeah, this is an interesting story that's like really futuristic, and it takes place in some like utopia type of Kowloon setting, and it's a good story. It's really interesting, really weird, but yeah, if you like romance stories that are kind of quirky, I think this is worth checking out. Heavenly Delusion Volume 6. This is such a solid series. I haven't seen the anime. I don't know if I'm going to see the anime or when I'm going to see the anime, but I love the manga, dude. The manga is really well drawn, and there's things that happen in it that are really odd, and situations that I thought were going to go one way they end up going a completely different way, and there is some body swap type of stuff going on that I found kind of interesting, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it is a good sci-fi story that definitely caught me by surprise and turned into one of the best things that I think I'm currently reading. And yeah, once you start reading it, it's like hard to put it down because you just become so engrossed in what's going on, with the characters. And this is the last volume that's going to drop for a while, I think, until like midway through next year or something. These are dropping pretty slow, but I think Denpa is like a really small publisher, so it's hard for them to get volumes out or whatever. So I mean, I don't really care either way, dude. I'm supporting the hell out of the series because it is solid and it's worth checking out. We've got Yakuza Reincarnation Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5. This is a solid series. I mentioned this in a currently reading video, I think. I've been reading isekai manga. I talked about Yakuza Reincarnation. This is a really good series. Turning from where I left off, is turning into like a fantasy story more and more, in that there's a demon lord that exists in this story. But I love the dynamic between, this character right here, who was a dude, who was an old Yakuza boss that dies and is reincarnated as this young girl. And it's just interesting seeing like what would essentially be like an old, like old Yakuza boss speak, or just like old mobster speak coming out of like a young girl. I thought that was hilarious, dude, and I've really enjoyed this series. I highly recommend it if you've never read it. It's solid as all hell. So I've picked up the first, altogether now, first 5 volumes of it. I think it's up to like volume 7 or something that are out physically, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I have the first 5 now. Chain Soldier, Volume 5. This is a series that really caught me by surprise because I thought it was going to go one way and ended up actually becoming a pretty good series. The first, I mean, pretty much for the most part, it is, cultured. You know what I mean? If you're a cultured individual that likes a certain type of story, then I think that you will, for the most part, like Chained Soldier. Basically, this dude ends up becoming a slave to this group of girls that are like, I guess, that's kind of like High School DxD. If you've read or seen the anime or whatever for High School DxD, this is basically that. So yeah, I mean, I don't really feel like there's anything else that is gonna stand out other than that it's essentially a High School DxD clone, but it's actually really good. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. And this dude, whenever he does something for these girls, like whenever he transforms into like this monster, I think it's like a Mako or whatever, whenever he transforms into that thing, the girls have to do something for him, like an illicit sort of fantasy favor or whatever that he has. And yeah, it's super cultured. So if you're like a cultured individual, I think that you may like Chain Soldier. Soloist in a Cage. This is some of the most depressing stuff I've ever read. Like, I was trying to read volume 2, but I can't get through it. It's not that, I mean, well, I can and I will get through it. It's just, I've had a lot of stuff happen in my life in like the past, like, 2 months, and including the loss of a family member. So I'm not really in a place where, like, I want to read things like Soloist in a Cage, which is just, like, unforgivingly bleak, like, all the damn time. Even the art style feels really bleak. Like everything about this manga is so depressing, but it's really it's really well written and really well drawn. I think I did a video about this exclusively. I think I did like a let's talk about or something about this series. I've done so many damn videos on this channel that I don't even know if I've done it in a group video or if I did it in a video by itself or not anymore. But but yeah, I talked about Soloist in a Cage. I remember that much that I talked about it, and this is a really good series that like I highly recommend if you want a super stark but super dark and brooding story that is as elegant as it is just visceral as all hell. Absolutely brilliantly written. This volume just came out not that long ago. Volume 3, which is the final volume, will drop next year, I think in like March or something like that. So yeah, this is definitely worth picking up and checking out. We got Love's in Sight. I'm doing a video about this coming up, about Love's in Sight. It's going to be a part of a bigger currently reading video. So I'm going to be talking about Love's in Sight and some other stuff. And there's volume 3 of Love's in Sight. I actually really like this series. It's super cute. It's so much fun. It's this girl who is, I guess for the most part, like, I don't know how blind she is, but I guess she's past the point where like glasses would do anything for her. But she can kind of see shapes, I think, because in the manga it shows that she can like see like blurred shapes or whatever. So I'm not sure, like, but she is pretty blind. I think she's like legally blind, and she has a friend who is like completely blind, and there's this really cute interaction between the two of them, where her friend says that she's cute, and this girl replies that how would you know you can't see, and the other girl like says something like it's like you just are, you just are cute, which I think is really sweet. It's a really sweet thing. And this manga is super adorable, dude. He's like a delinquent, and then yeah, she's blind, and he does like everything in his power to try to make her happy and to try to like be there for her. And I think it's a super adorable story. And I don't regret checking it out, dude, because sometimes like you just gotta read fun, cute things that aren't just absolutely soul crushing. We got Orient Volumes 1, 2, and 3. This story I think is up to like volume 20 something. I've only picked up the first 3. This kind of feels to me like a mix of like One Piece and Gurren Lagann, but these kids are like demon slayers or something. They kill demons, and there's like some other stuff going on, but I like the artwork quite a bit. It's like, I don't know, it's like, I think I saw shiny, covers. I saw these shiny covers and I was just like, you know what, I'll check it out. I'm one of those people, I see the shiny thing and I want to look at the shiny thing, and yeah, so I saw the shiny thing and I went, yeah, I'll check it out. So I got the first 3 volumes of it, and I got them at like a pretty good discount. I think it was like $5 a pop, so I'm not upset, you know what I mean? If I end up not liking it, then you know what, I can always just sell them or give them to one of my homies that like ends up getting my hand-me-downs. Whenever I get rid of stuff, I just like give it to one of my friends or whatever. But I think I'm gonna like this. I like I like the synopsis of it, with these two dudes who are like friends and they kind of grow up and go different paths. And I kind of like that idea. I like stories where people like, start off with like a common goal and then they end up just like kind of diverging and going on different paths. And maybe at some point in time they'll end up converging, along the road or whatever. But yeah, I like that this is like super glittery or whatever. I don't know, man. It just like was like looked really shiny to me, and I thought that it looked like a lot of fun. It looks like from the art, looks like One Piece, and then based on the story, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Gurren Lagann. If you've ever seen the anime for Gurren Lagann, it is an absolute masterpiece, dude, and one of my favorite anime series ever. So yeah, this is Orient. Alrighty, we got Ayashimon Volume 3. This series unfortunately got canceled, and that breaks my heart because I love Yuji Kaku's artwork. He's such a phenomenal artist, and it sucks, dude, that this series that he put so much time and effort into ended up going the way of the dinosaurs. But hopefully the next thing he does doesn't get canceled, because it's a shame, dude, to see such solid work. This could have become such an incredible story, dude, if it would have been allowed to, go on and whatnot. And yeah, unfortunately, it is canceled. We got Blade of the Moon Princess. This is the same dude who did Spy Family, which I think is over, if I'm not mistaken. And then he's got another one too that I don't own called Tista. I haven't read it. I don't know if I will ever read it. I just haven't. It doesn't really pique my interest. This, I liked the artwork for it, so I've been reading it, as you can tell. I'm doing this in a video, in an upcoming video. So far from what I've read, it seems like a cute enough story. I'm assuming that it may end up getting darker. I have a feeling that something like that's going to happen, where like this character who is like a total goofball is going to have to step up, like Elusive Samurai, which I did a video about a long time ago. I think probably like a year ago at this point as well. And yeah, it's kind of like the vibes that I'm getting from this, is that like this character is going to have to step up and stop goofing around, kind of like the King, with Tim, what was that dude's name? I'll put it right here, with Chalamet. You know who I'm talking about? That dude, where like I think The King or Kingdom or whatever the movie was called. That's kind of the vibes I got from it. So yeah, we'll see. Hulk, about a dude who is a human that wants to become the Demon Lord or something like that. I haven't started this, but the premise of it just piqued my interest. It sounded really random. And yeah, this girl, I guess, doesn't really buy that this dude is just like super misanthropic and just hates everyone. Or like, he's just one of those, he's just that dude that hates humanity. So I don't know. We'll see how this ends up being. There's an anime too for it that I haven't seen. I don't know if I'll watch the anime. Maybe I'll check out the anime, but I feel like I should read the manga first just to get an idea about it, because I don't want to watch the anime and then read the manga. I feel like I like the idea of reading the manga first and then comparing it, to the anime. So yeah, that's Hulk. But yeah, welcome back, Alice, Volume 5. I absolutely adore this series. This is one of my favorite manga that I am reading, and it just gets more and more screwed up, which, if you know Shuzo Oshimi, which I've read a bunch of Shuzo Oshimi at this point, this definitely is some very Shuzo Oshimi stuff right here. These characters just get worse and worse, and even the dude that you want to be a good guy is just the opposite of a good dude, which I think is like true to life, because like nobody ever is really like as beacon of hope as they come out, as they try to make themselves out to be. People always have that other side of them that is the hidden side that they hide from people, because they don't want anybody to think anything other than the norm about them, like, oh man, he was such a nice guy, I can't believe he did that, you know what I mean? Like, because they're hiding that other part of themselves. And this is essentially what these characters are all doing. Like, on the surface they seem like cool, young teenagers that are just chilling and whatnot, and then on the insides they're having these internal battles, and some of them more so than others, including just like gender identity and things like that, and coming of age, and trying to make sense of yourself. And there's definitely like some interesting themes in this that I feel like could have been fleshed out a little bit earlier and fleshed out a little bit cleaner, because of the fact that it is kind of wishy-washy with certain things in the beginning, but as it goes, it gets a lot better and it starts to make a lot more sense. And I'm actually loving this series, and I like the direction of it quite a bit. So yeah, I think it's a solid series. Akane Banashi. This is actually a pretty decent series. Like, I've never really, I don't know anything about the art form, which is a like a storytelling kind of like comedy sort of art form. It's like one person on a stage that does this art form that I cannot remember the name of. I think it's like Rokugo or something. I'm gonna put it right here, the name of it. But basically, like, it's like a one-man show type of thing. Like, if you've ever seen those like comedy specials or whatever, or even just like Broadway, you know, whatever, it's like a one-man show type of thing, but it's like exclusively Japanese. It kind of reminds me of this show that I'd watched a long time ago called like Sparks or something like that. I forgot like what the official name of it is, but I'll put it up here somewhere. And that's what it makes me think of, which is like this comedy thing that's also Japanese, like inherently Japanese. It's basically like this thing where there's two dudes. One is like the straight man, and the other one is the guy that says the comedic thing, you know. So like the straight man will do his typical thing, you know, where he's like, oh, and what did he say or something, and then the other guy will say the comedic thing, you know what I mean? And this kind of reminds me of that. Only it's all one person that's playing like two or three different characters. Yeah, like three different characters, I think, and they will, you know, change their voice or do whatever to emulate these different characters, but it's all the same person. And I really like the way that it's being done in Akane Banashi. And it's not something that I've ever really been interested in, that I don't think I'll ever be interested in, but the way it's presented in this manga, I think is really solid, and I really like her a lot as a character. And I like the setup from the beginning of the manga to where it ends up, and yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what's going to happen next, and I'm going to be covering this in my currently reading video, so I'll be talking about it in way more in depth in that video than I am here, because I'm trying to get through a lot of manga. So yeah, man, I definitely highly recommend checking out Akane Banashi. But yeah, Yokohama Station F, which reminds me of the Metro game series. That's what I think of when I think about this series. It has like such a I want to say similarity to it, you know, and only this is in Japan, and it takes place, I guess, in Yokohama Station. So yeah, I haven't read this yet, but I picked it up because the idea of that kind of reminded me of Metro, and I wanted to see if it was anything like it, and if there's like crazy monsters or whatever in it, or if it's just like a futuristic sort of sci-fi story. So either way, I'm highly interested because that artwork kind of sold me on it. Yokohama Station SF or something, I think it's what it's called. Yeah, Yokohama Station SF. So yeah, let's see how this ends up being. We got 2 volumes of plus-sized Elf. You got volume 1 and volume 2. This series is so much fun, dude. Like, I like, you know, just random nonsensical stories, and this definitely ticked those boxes for me, where like she is from a magical sort of world. You know, she's an elf. Her name's like Elfunda or something. It's something really random that includes the word elf in her name. But she fell in love with French fries, and she at some point ends up on Earth. I forget for what reason, but she just cannot stop eating French fries, and like at different parts throughout the story, like she tries to lose weight and she meets other like magical girls, I guess, if you will, in a sense. Not magical girls in like, you know, wand, scepter, you know, Sailor Moon type of magical girl. I just mean like she's an elf. There's also a girl that's a dark elf. There is a girl that's like a plant. She's like half plant or whatever. And there's like a bunch of different girls. There's an orc woman that's like massive as all hell. And she looks like this one wrestler whose name I cannot remember off the top of my head, but I'll put her over here. God, I can't remember her name. I'm having like a horrible memory today, dude. I cannot remember a damned thing. But yeah, this is super fun, dude. Like, I did not expect this to be as fun as it is, but I heard good things about it. And this is a series that I've known about for years that I just never checked out because it never really piqued my interest, but then I saw somebody talk about it and say that these first handful of volumes were recently reprinted. So I decided to give it a shot, and yeah, it definitely was not a mistake. It's not going to be for everybody. It's definitely not going to be for everybody, but If you just like quirky, random stories about an elf that is trying to lose weight but just will not stop eating french fries, this is a lot of fun. Chainsaw Man, Volume 12. You already know. I don't need to explain Chainsaw Man to anybody. This is one of the best manga series that I've personally ever read. As you can see, I got a bunch of Tatsuki Fujimoto stuff in the back. I did a video about Tatsuki Fujimoto. I've done a bunch of random videos about his works. I'm not going to list them all or mention all of them, but yeah, I've done a bunch of random videos about his works. And yeah, right here, we got Best Girl on the cover. We got Best Girl on the cover, and yeah, Volume 12. I don't know how many of you are physical volume readers only, so I'm not gonna go into the whole thing, but yeah, I keep up with the manga with the chapter drops, so I am up to date with this series. And yeah, I mean, if you know, you know. Insomniacs After School Volume 3. This is an adorable series about these two youths that cannot sleep. And as a person who's suffered from insomnia pretty much my whole life, I can relate. And I love things like this that for me bring up this sort of nostalgia for when I was a kid growing up and, you know, being out all night. And there was just something really special about being out all night as a kid that just isn't the same now as an adult. You know, if I'm out all night right now in my 30s, like I'm 35, if I'm out all night in my 30s, it's just not cute. It's not cute being out all night in your 30s, you know what I mean? Like, being out all night at like 17, 18, there was something magical about it. You know, there was just something absolutely like amazing and wonderful about being out because you were young and there was things to do when you were hanging out with your friends, you're hanging out with your girlfriend. I used to go out with my friends. I used to go out with this girl that I was dating. We'd go to shows, you know, and we'd go see like hardcore bands. We'd go see like metal bands, you know, and there was just something really special about it and being out. And it was a completely different sort of ambiance. And I love that this, for me, it does anyway, captures that feeling, you know, of being young and being out and about and just experiencing life. Because I feel like you need to do that. Now that I'm like in my 30s, I really don't go out that much anymore. But when I was a lot younger, you would never see me home. I was never home. I was always out and about doing things, hanging out with friends and stuff like that. But as I've gotten older, I kind of just don't really like leaving the house anymore. But yeah, this is a phenomenal story, dude. Yeah, if you get the chance to check it out, if you wanna read it. I mentioned this. I think I did a video about it. Yeah, I think I did a video about this, so you can watch that, or you can just, you know, check it out. I think it's on the Viz app. Yeah, or you could even just buy these physical volumes like I've been doing. And yeah, I think it's definitely worth checking out. We got Tokyo Aliens. This looks like it's just going to be absolutely random. So there's this kid who is in high school and he's kind of like what I am now, just like a shut-in. Like a dude that only goes out to buy video games or whatever, or to buy manga. And he ends up running into some dude from his class, and there's a bunch of crazy stuff that ensues. I haven't started this yet, but the idea of it and the artwork sold me on it. And it looks like it's a lot of fun, and I like stories like that are quirky and just have like kind of offbeat characters that are at the same time like sleek and cool and whatnot. And I like stories that can mash the two, you know, where it's like, where it can be dark and brooding, but at the same time be light and fun. And when I say those things, I think of like Yu Hayashida with Dorohedoro and Die Dark, which can be like absolutely fun, you know, and it takes like these dark, brooding characters and makes them fun, but at the same time there's like moments that are like actually really dark and heavy. And I feel like this might have that sort of thing going on, or maybe it's just completely quirky. I don't know, because I haven't started it yet, but I do want to soon, and maybe I'll talk about it in a separate video or something when I get around to it. But I really like that artwork. I saw that artwork, and that sold me on it, and then the story behind it just sounds like really random and really dumb. So, I don't know, it just made me want to check it out. So, yeah, that's Tokyo Aliens. We got Free Ren, because apparently I have no self-control. Okay, so Free Ren is basically like To Your Eternity, like Violet Evergarden, all these just horrible things that make you want to shed tears. This is just like crying porn. You know what I mean? This is like the stuff you read when you're just like, you know what, I haven't shed enough tears in my life. I need to read some really depressing manga about this girl who watches her friends grow old and die. while she remains like 14 years old or whatever. You know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you've all seen the movie, I think When Machio Was Here, whatever that movie's called, which was just a beautiful film, but god damn, dude, was that movie just soul crushing. So depressing, so brutal, so heavy, but it's such a solid film. It's like one of those movies that like it's like all right, I saw it. It was a masterpiece. I'm never going to watch it again. That's what I think this is going to be. And I got this at like a really good discount. So I was just like, you know what? I'll check it out, man. I've seen other YouTubers talk about it. I've seen at least like 2 YouTubers that I follow talk about Free Ren. And, or at least 3 now that I think about it. Like 3 YouTubers that I follow talk about Free Ren. One of them talked about the anime, and then 2 of them talked about the manga. So I'm going to check it out based on that. And yeah, from what I've heard, it's pretty much like To Your Eternity meets like Violet Evergarden. Like you're going to shed tears. Like it's inevitable. So I don't know when I'm gonna start this, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of putting it off. It's like Soloist in a Cage, where it's like I really want to read it, but at the same time, it's like do I want to be in pain right now? Do I want to be in any more pain than what I'm already in? But yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out at some point. We're not gonna know. Google Won't Let Me Be Invisible Volume 4. This kind of reminds me of a relationship that I was in when I was a lot younger, and that's kind of why I like the series so much. Where like this girl is super outgoing and then he's like super duper shy, and that's kind of like a relationship that I was in with this girl who was like a theater nerd, and like she was super outgoing, and, you know, like quirky and fun and whatnot, and I was always just kind of like quiet and reserved. And you wouldn't think that based on my channel, where like I literally just talk for hours on end. I've got literal like probably hundreds of hours worth of videos. I got hundreds of hours probably between all these videos I've done. There's literally like 100 videos on this channel, 110 videos on this channel. So there's like probably like over 100 hours of me talking. But yeah, this kind of reminds me of that, and it's super cute. She likes this dude who is like invisible to the world. This dude is so invisible that he can go to a convenience store and the sliding automatic doors won't register this dude. That's like how insignificant he is, that like the doors will just not register this poor man. So yeah, this is a super cute story that, yeah, I mean, if you like this sort of a thing, you know, rom-com, cute manga, then yeah, I think you'll like it. But if you're not into it, then yeah, it's probably just not, it's not going to be for you. Mieruko-chan Volume 8. I absolutely love Mieruko-chan. I've done 2 videos about this story on this channel. I don't think I'm ever going to do another video about it, unless I do one after the series concludes at some point. Maybe then, you know, I'll do another video about it. But for the most part, this is just an absolutely amazing series that has gotten better and better as time goes on. It started off like kind of just like a fun story, and I think I mentioned this in my other videos, in my last video that I did. It started off just kind of like a fun story, and it's just little by little has been building, you know, like a bigger narrative. And I feel like even though it doesn't have like a central villain, there is for the most part a narrative that it follows, and I think this is like a more involved Sixth Sense. You know what I mean? Like this is like a Sixth Sense where we see this, where we see, you know, that kid from that movie become more involved in it. You know, instead of just being scared of the things, he actually starts to become involved in it and starts wanting to like help the ghost or whatever, the spirits. And I love Tomoki Izumi's artwork. Some of the most amazing artwork that I've seen in manga, and this is pretty much what this dude's dedicated himself to. I think like even if you follow him on his if you follow him on his Twitter or X or whatever that thing is called, he posts nothing but like Mieruko-chan art, and then on his YouTube channel as well, he's always posting like live drawings or whatever of Mieruko-chan characters, including like Hana and Miko. And yeah, dude, I think he is just, he loves what he does and he loves his story, and you can tell that he has put his heart and soul into the characters of the story and just the story itself. So yeah, I highly recommend checking out Mieruko-chan. My instant death ability is so overpowered. No one in this other world stands a chance against me. This story is actually not bad. I've read the first volume of it. This is volume 2, and Yeah, I read the whole first volume of it. This is the manga version. There's also a light novel version, which I think is the original version, and then this is the version they did for people like me that don't want to read a light novel. Not that there's anything wrong with reading light novels. If you're a light novel reader, that is completely cool. I'm not hating on it. I'm just not a fan. And this is really good, dude. I like this story quite a bit. The first volume was so much fun, and I'm really excited to check this out because there were moments of it in the first volume that got a little heavy, towards the end with this dude's ability and him just straight up having no issues with killing somebody if they, are willing to try to kill him first. He will 100% defend himself. It's like Death Note without the Death Note. You know what I mean? Like he just says die and you will die. But he does sometimes, have different ways in which the person will die, which is kind of similar to Death Note, where like he thinks in his mind like how he wants that person to die, or like he can actually even just kill a part of a person's body, like he can just kill your arm, and your arm will like essentially be paralyzed forever or whatever, just no longer ever useful. And yeah, this is not a bad series at all. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. I'm hoping that it continues to be as solid as it was in the first volume. And yeah, this is just like for the most part like a fun story that's not deep. You're not gonna get anything like life altering. This is just a fun story, dude. I think that's all it's meant to be. Ayakashi Triangle Volume 4. I think the physical volumes are much further, but I only have up to Volume 4. I'm probably not going to pick up any more of this until I catch up with it and see if it's going to ultimately be worth checking out. I think this closes out on 14 volumes, if I'm not mistaken. I think it literally just closed out on 14 volumes in Japanese. If I'm wrong, then I'll put whatever it is, but I think this literally just ended in Japan. Like I think the last volume just dropped or is gonna drop, and I think it's 14 if I'm not mistaken. But pretty much, dude is cursed by a yokai, like an evil spirit, and turned into a girl. And as a girl, he wants to defend his childhood friend that is like sort of like a love interest. But in the beginning of it, he doesn't really see her as a love interest. He just sees her as a friend. But I think as it goes on, something starts to grow between them, and it's a cute series. There's a lot of like nudity, I guess. I guess if you will, a lot of like toplessness. So if you're not into that, then this is probably not going to be for you because this does have quite a bit of that. And I'm just one of those people that like I will read whatever the hell, as you can tell from all the different manga that I've picked up. And this is the Eclectic Collector channel, and I am a person that is super eclectic and likes a lot of different stuff. So yeah, I mean, check it out if you like this sort of a thing. If you don't, then yeah, that's completely fair. We got The God of High School, Volume 1. This is something that I've been really looking forward to. This is a webtoon that got turned into an anime that was directed by a South Korean anime director that works in Japan and worked for MAPPA. I don't think he works for MAPPA anymore, but he did work for MAPPA, and when they did this, I think it was under MAPPA. And I did not finish the anime for this series. I watched like a handful of episodes and then kind of like fell off because I started watching it around the time where like I kind of started losing interest in watching anime, and right now I kind of like little by little been getting back into it. Like I've been watching like Jujutsu Kaisen and some other stuff that I can't remember right now, but yeah, I started watching this, and I remember I wanted to read the manhwa because this is Korean. I wanted to read the manhwa because I'd heard that the anime, yeah, that's what it was. The anime started skipping around and started skipping past certain things, so it just kind of like skipped like a bunch of stuff that happens in the manhwa. So I wanted to read the manhwa just to kind of keep up with it and see where those hidden things will go, and what kind of a story it'll ultimately be in the original format. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to checking out. We've got Dan to Dan Volume 5. This is one of my favorite manga series ever. I think this is currently my favorite manga series that I am reading. I am not 100% caught up with it, but I am pretty close to it. But I am pretty close to it. I'm like on chapter 100 and something, and dude, it gets so much better. Like if you're reading these physical volumes and you're on volume 5 right now, I just want to say that you are in for just some of the wildest stuff. And what I love about this series is like, even though, so much already has happened, so much like just wild stuff has already happened in this story. It's like the tip of the iceberg, given like what's still to come and where it's gonna go. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to start spoiling it. But yeah, please keep reading it. If you're currently reading the story and you think that it couldn't possibly ramp up any more than it already has, dude, it's just gonna get so much more just unreal and outrageous. And dude, I love this series so much. If I could, I would just do nothing but videos about Dan to Dan, but I don't think people would watch them. There's got to be variety. There's got to be different stuff that I talk about on this channel. But yeah, dude, I absolutely love this series. So yeah, definitely check this out. Wow, so I just lost all that. Oh, man. So we had a technical issue. My recording program that I use to record my audio decided to crash, and I lost about 10 minutes. I lost 10 minutes of audio, so that sucked. That was really scary because I thought I lost the whole thing, and it was just going to be camera audio, which is terrible. And if you watch my old videos, you would know, you'll know that those were all like just camera audio, and it was awful. So now I'm gonna have to like make sure like every 2 seconds that this thing's recording. I'm just so glad that I didn't lose all of it. I only lost like 10 minutes. But anyway, let's get back to it so I can close this video out and maybe have enough time to hit the weights before it gets too late. So let's do this. We got Sawada and the House of Monsters. I feel like I talked about this in another haul. I feel like I'm doing this again. Like I already talked about this in a different haul, but I'm gonna talk about it again. For whatever reason, I feel like I already did this in the haul, but it showed up on my list for manga that I was going to talk about this month. So I hope that I didn't already do this in another haul. But this is Sawada and the House of Monsters. I did a video about this series not too long ago, and this is a really cute story about this girl that was orphaned, and she ends up hanging out with like these dwarves that are dwarven builders, and they take her in, and it kind of reminded me of like Soloist in a Cage a little bit, like the first part of Soloist in a Cage, where like she doesn't have a home, she doesn't have a family, and she spent like her whole life training to become a slayer of monsters, and then there's like this peace treaty that's signed, and it throws that whole thing into the dumpster essentially. But it's so cute, dude. It's so much fun. That if you like that sort of thing, just a cute story about this girl that joins these builders, these dwarven builders, as they go around and build houses for monsters, and it's super cute, dude. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, I think that this is something that's worth checking out, and the artwork is absolutely gorgeous too. We got Medaka Kuriowa is impervious to my charms. I liked the first volume of this. Parts of it were kind of annoying. I feel like she started to get a little bit annoying, but I don't think it's a terrible series. I'm not going to stop reading it until I get to a point where I just don't think that it's like, worth it anymore to keep reading it. But so far I have enjoyed it, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going with it until it does get to the point where like it's literally just her being annoying. You know what I mean? Because there were parts of it that got kind of tedious to read. But it didn't get, like I said, tedious to the point where I was gonna put it down. But pretty much, there's this girl right here who was like the most popular girl in school, and all the dudes want her. And there's one dude that like shows her no affection whatsoever, so she tries to go out of her way to try to make him fall in love with her, just so he's another brain dead dude that's after her, like all the other brain dead dudes that are after her. And yeah, that's pretty much like her whole thing, and that's literally the whole manga is her trying to get this dude to fall in love with her. And it looks like she ends up being the one that falls in love with him, so yeah, it's not a bad story, but we'll see where it goes, and hopefully it gets a little bit better later on. We've got Choji next by the same dude, Suishida, who also is pretty much best known for Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re, and this is his newest series that I read the first volume of. I haven't read volumes 2 or 3 yet, but I like the first volume quite a bit, so that's enough for me to want to just keep to keep collecting these, but I'm not going to collect another volume. I'm not going to collect volume 4 for this series until I read volume 2 and 3 and see, how I feel about it. So I like the artwork quite a bit, and the story's interesting, seeing how these characters' dynamics are going to change, and how this one dude who becomes a Chojin, this dude named Tokyo becomes a Chojin, and you kind of see his evolution from just like regular kid to Chojin, and it kind of has the Tokyo Ghoul thing, where like he's weak. So I'm assuming he's gonna eventually like hit God mode or whatever and just become like super OP. And I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up happening. So yeah, that's Chojin next. We've got Under Ninja and Volume 2 right here, Volumes 1 and 2 of Under Ninja. This is the same dude who did I Am a Hero. If you like I Am a Hero, this is honestly like super duper close to that, with this character with the lead character who's just like a complete oddball. And I tried to read I Am a Hero a long time ago, and I just could not for the life of me get into it. I couldn't get past like the first 150 pages of I Am a Hero. And I'm liking Under Ninja a little bit more because it definitely has the same level of randomness that I Am a Hero did. Only this time around, this is about like ninjas, and there's like the Japanese military has a sect of ninjas, and there's like this whole random backstory, with ninjas, and I've been reading it. As you can see, I've got a bookmark in there. Somewhere. I don't know where the hell it is, but there's I swear to God, there's a bookmark in there. There it is right there. There's a bookmark in this thing. I've been reading it, and it's definitely an odd story, but if you've read it, I think there's an anime that's out or coming out or something about this, about Under Ninja, and I don't know, the artwork just kind of like spoke to me, and then the title of it, I was just like, what the hell is this? And I wanted to check it out, and yeah, it's super random, dude. Once you start reading it, like all you have to do is read like the first 2 or 3 pages of it, and you're already going to be like, what the hell am I reading? But I love that sort of thing. I love just super random, nonsensical stories that feel like what the hell am I reading? You know what I mean? Like that's what I get out of Under Ninja. So yeah, I'm really excited to continue that story. We got Kaiji Volume 3. I got this at a pretty decent discount, so I ended up picking it up. I'm not gonna pick up any more of this story. I'm gonna read Volume 1 pretty soon because I'm doing and I've been reading Death Game manga video in the near future, probably in 24. That's probably going to be one of my first videos that I drop next year. So this is definitely going to be one of the manga series that I read for it. Pretty much like a Squid Game before there was ever a Squid Game. And this is a classic series that is being printed now in English, but I think it's from like the 90s if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it's not, and I'm a liar. I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of things about this, so I'm definitely really looking forward to checking it out. And yeah, it's pretty much about gambling, and the stakes are literally life or death. So yeah, that's Kaiji. All right, we're going to talk about this sooner or later. This is the One Piece Omnibus that includes volumes 1 through 3, and I am almost halfway through this. I really wish that I could have put more of a dent into this because I have enjoyed it so much, but given that like I'm extremely busy, I got a lot of stuff going on, it's hard to read manga, it's hard to do anything. I've been playing this video game called Lies of P, and I've enjoyed the living hell out of it, and trying to find time to even play that, it's really brutal, given like that I'm like a super busy person. I work all the time, and dude, I've never read One Piece. I didn't know anything about One Piece other than it's about this kid who wants to become the king of the pirates. That's all I really knew about it. I started to watch the anime a long time ago. Couldn't keep up with it, and I ended up just like not continuing it. And I decided to now, for whatever reason, in my mid-30s, decided to just check out One Piece for the first time, and I ended up getting Volume 2. What is it? The second omnibus that has volumes 3, 4, and 5. No, I'm sorry, that has 4, 5, and 6 in it. So, yeah, this part right here is with the first 3, and I'm currently in the middle of what would be Volume 2. And I have enjoyed it so much, dude. It's been so much fun. When I pick it up and read it, like I don't want to stop reading it. But I usually read at night, and I usually read right when I'm going to go to bed, because that's like the first time that I can just like sit down and like unwind. And that's when I like to read manga, is when I can like sit down and unwind and like just focus all of my attention on it. But I put a dent into it, so like that I'm definitely enjoying it, and I'm gonna be doing a video about One Piece probably next year. Hopefully that video doesn't get taken down. Yeah, hopefully I can put a video out and just like my thoughts on it, because it's an old series and everybody's talked about it at this point. But just wanted to share my own personal thoughts and opinions on it, and it'll be like just kind of like that sort of a video. Not really, it's not gonna be like a let's talk about, because I like to do those about series that like just came out. But this will just be kind of like my thoughts on One Piece, and that'll probably be the name of the video, my thoughts on One Piece, after having read like volumes 1 through 3. So yeah, we'll see what comes of that. And yeah, I've been enjoying the living hell out of this. Cool. We got Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko. This just looks like such a wholesome story about a girl who is also like a robot or an android or something in this kind of, part of me wants to say like post-apocalyptic sort of a landscape, but I think at this point in time most of humanity has been wiped out or something, and she is like a delivery driver or something, like, or she rides this little like Vespa scooter type of thing right here to deliver things, mail, whatever, I'm not really sure, to people. And it's supposed to be like a really cute sort of slice of life story, and I got the first 2 volumes of it right here. So I'm really looking forward to checking this out, and I got them both like at a pretty decent discount, so I want to see where it's gonna go. But yeah, this looked cute, and I want to check it out, and I like that these are like really thick omnibus sorts of volumes. We got Love in Hell. This is an omnibus that was recommended to me by my friend Justin, who is a writer, and he's a pretty decent one at that. So he is a huge fan of this story. He kind of like is one of those people that loves gore and loves just like super, I want to say, brutal stuff. Like he's a huge fan of the Terrifier films, of like, well, like the first 2 Terrifier films. There's a third one on the way, and this is definitely something that was like up his alley, and he told me to check it out. So there's like, I think, a follow-up to Love in Hell, which is like a spin-off or a sequel or something. I haven't started it yet, but since it's something that he recommended me, I decided to check it out, and hopefully I like it as well. The artwork here looks really freaky, so I'm sure it's going to be one wild ride, and I have no problems with that. I like stories that are odd and, kind of like off the beaten path, and this feels like this is like well off the beaten path. So yeah, let's see what I'm interested in seeing where a story called Love in Hell is going to go. We got Noragami. This is the 5th Omni with volumes 13, 14, and 15, and I'm not sure how many of these are going to be all together. I think it's like 14 of these big omnis that are going to collect the whole Noragami story, and I really liked this series, the anime, and I decided to check out the manga and see, see what happens and see where the story goes after where the anime ended off. And I'm gonna start it completely from scratch because I want to see the manga version of it. And yeah, I think that I'm glad that they released these, and they're releasing these in these big omnibus volumes. I think there's like single volumes as well that are out there, but I'd rather just collect these because I like having, more I guess bang for your buck, if you will. And I'm a huge fan of omnibus volumes. I picked up a bunch of them in this haul, and we'll go through all of them now that I've entered, like, I guess the omnibus sphere part of this video. So yeah, this is one of them right here. We got Fire Force Volume 4, the omnibus Volume 4 for Fire Force, and this is a solid series. I think it's a solid series. It's the same dude who did Soul Eater. If you've ever seen the anime or read the manga for Soul Eater, I personally think that this is a lot more fun and engaging than Soul Eater. Though I'm not hating on Soul Eater because I grew up with it, you know what I mean? That came out when I was like a teenager, or probably even before that. And I've had a lot more fun with Fire Force. I like the characters from Fire Force much more than the ones from Soul Eater. But I think, you know what, to each their own. If you're more of a fan of Soul Eater, that's cool. That's cool with me. I have no gripes with that. I have nothing against it. But yeah, I like these omnibus volumes quite a bit, and I think the single volumes are up to like volume 30 something. I'm not sure how much longer those are going to go on for, if the story is even still ongoing in Japanese or not. But yeah, I'm really enjoying these. I'm probably not going to collect any more of these until, you know, I start actually reading the manga and catch up. I started reading the manga well before I ever saw the show, but I ended up stopping reading it to just watch it because I was trying to keep up with way too much stuff. But yeah, I'm not going to collect any more of these until, you know, I get back into it and start reading it and see, you know, like and see how it differs, you know, from the anime. So yeah, but this is definitely worth investing time in, whether you're checking out the singles or if you're like myself, you know, buying these omnis. We got Tokyo Revengers Omnibus. This includes volumes 9 and 10. I've not picked up any more of these. I'm probably not going to pick up any more of these. Same deal until I catch up. But this is a solid series. I watched the first season of anime. Season 2 is out right now. I have not watched it. I'm probably not going to watch it. I'm going to start to just read the manga and I already started it from scratch. So I still need to read like what is essentially volumes 3 and 4 of the manga and just kind of work my way through it. And I'm not going to pick up any more of this either until, you know, until I catch up to where I'm at. Because I got to stop buying manga. I've kind of hit the wall where like I need to like just like pump the brakes and start actually reading more of the stuff I own before, you know, I invest any more time spending any more money on even more stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something for me where like, you know, it's just my passion, dude. I love collecting and I love, you know, being able to talk about it with you all. So I have no problem doing it for that, and because I like to, you know, have the variety and check out a lot of different stuff and be able to continue to do videos on this channel. And yeah, so that allows me to do it. And yeah, I have no problem, you know, just being invested in a lot of different types of stories. And speaking of stories that are different, we got Homunculus Volume. So this is essentially like the second omnibus, and this collects volumes 3 and 4. This is a story that I guess is going to get progressively more and more screwed up as it goes, but I'm really looking forward to checking this out. I haven't started this yet, sadly. I do really want to because I loved the first volume and I invested like a bunch of time into that first volume. Like I sacrificed reading other stuff because I usually read like a bunch of different stuff like at the same time. Like I sacrificed reading a bunch of different stuff to essentially get that Homunculus video out because I did a video about this series, and like I sacrificed reading a bunch of different manga to almost exclusively read Homunculus because like I couldn't put it down. I was so invested in it, and I need to get back into this and read this volume, even though who the hell knows when the next one's gonna come out. But yeah, dude, it's really well drawn, really well written. This dude also did Ichi the Killer, and he has another series that was actually, Ichi the Killer was never published in English as far as I know, but his other story that he did was published in English, which I forgot what it was called, but I'll put a picture of it somewhere here. And yeah, this is just one of the wildest things that I've ever read. Basically, this dude gets like a trepanation type of surgery. You know, gets a hole drilled in his head so that he can essentially see the other side or whatever, and see different things, like paranormal things that normal human beings can't see. And as a result of it, he starts to see, like, I guess, like people's inner selves that they don't show to others. And it is a wild story, dude, and there are some pretty heavy, hectic things that happen, and you start to see, you know, like different sides of humanity, and it's definitely a pretty wild ride. We got Jagan Volume 14. This concludes my Jagan set. If you've watched any of my older haul videos, or at least like my last haul video, I was going on about how I was swapping out my Mexican Spanish Jagan volumes for these Spain Spanish ones, and the ones that I swapped out were volumes 13 and now 14 because I had the rest of it. I'd started collecting the series initially in Spain Spanish, which is released by Norma Editorial, and I'd collected it through like 12 in Spain Spanish, I think, something like that. And then there was like 13 and 14 that I had in Mexican Spanish, and I ended up being able to get my hands on the volumes that I needed. So now I have them all in the Spain Spanish editions, and the reason for it is that I wanted all my spines to be the same, because I'm one of those people that, like, I'm obsessed with uniformity in certain aspects, right? Not in life, but in like the things that I own. Like, I want them to be uniform. I want them to look good and make sense and fit. And with this, I now have the complete Jagan set, and I love this series, dude. I've read the first, I think, like 4 volumes of Jagan so far. Unfortunately, I haven't read nearly as much as I should have, or as much as I would like to, given that, like, I literally did my first video about the series like 2 years ago, and in that time I've only read like 4 volumes, which is really unfortunate, but I think it goes to show you that I'm stretched way too thin. I got way too much stuff going on. I need to like pump the brakes and start really reading more of my manga, and that's a big thing that I want to do going into 24, is I'm going to start pumping the brakes, I think, with a lot of things, and start just spending way more time actually getting some reading done, and not just trying to get videos out all the damn time. I think that's going to be a big thing that I'm going to do, but yeah, I love this series, and hopefully one day this gets an English translation, because it definitely needs to be in English. Muneyuki Kaneshiro's other story, Blue Lock, is available in English, so it's like, come on, dude, give us Jagan. I'm fortunate in that I can read Spanish, so I'm able to read it, but, you know, for those people that you know, have to rely on like scans and whatnot. Like, people want to own it in English. I'd love to own it in English. I'll still keep my Spanish volumes, but it would be cool to also be able to, you know, own it in English. We got Hyperinflation. This is something that I really wanted to check out, and finally I was able to get my hands on it, and I am in the middle of it. This is a lot of fun. This is a story about this dude who, they're like essentially like indigenous peoples, but they can create money or something like that, and he uses this ability that he has to create money to essentially screw up the infrastructure of this like capitalist society. And it's, I guess there's like definitely certain things that you can take away. There's definitely certain things that you can take away from that, you know, and from this story. And hopefully one day this ends up getting an English translation, or gets turned into an anime or something, because I think it's a really solid story. And pretty much this kid tries to save his sister by, like I said, you know, like just kind of destroying this world's infrastructure, and, you know, trying to flood it with this like sort of like a fake currency. And it's definitely like an interesting story, definitely an odd sort of take on like a revenge, I guess, if you will, sort of a tale. So yeah, that's Hyperinflation. So this is one that I wanted to check out, because I follow Norma Editorial on Instagram, and they've posted stuff. They posted like shots from Violence Action, so I went out of my way to try to get my hands on this series. And this is pretty much like this young girl who like is super cute, but she's also like an assassin. And I liked the way the artwork looked, and I kind of wish that I'd started it by now. But I haven't started it, which is really unfortunate. But I will be starting it hopefully soon, because, like I said, the artwork for this just looks like a lot of fun. And I like stories like this where like there's like this young girl who like just looks like it's like really innocent or whatever, and then she's carrying a gun and she takes out like mobsters or whatever in like a sort of revenge for them having killed someone that she cares about. And it's a shame, you know, that there's not a lot of other stuff that gets, you know, translated into English. But luckily, as a person who is bilingual and who speaks Spanish, I'm able to check out certain things that who knows if they'll ever be available in English. And yeah, this is one of them. And I really like that artwork a lot too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to starting this at some point. Violence Action. We got DRCL. This is by Shinichi Sakamoto. This dude did The Climber, and he also did Innocent and Innocent Rogue, and those are both gonna, I guess, at some point be available in English. Innocent way before Rogue, and I read DRCL This is just not what I was expecting it to be. I did a video about the series. It is 100% one of the weirdest things I've ever read, but it's a lot of fun. And if you're into like queer stories or whatever, and just stories that are about vampires, and if you liked like Interview with the Vampire or Dracula, which this is actually based off of, this is based off of the idea of Dracula, and it does a lot of things that were really odd. And yeah, if you like that sort of a thing, if you're open-minded and you're not bothered by certain things, then I think that this will be worth checking out. And with this, we kick off the hardcover portion of this video, and then we're almost done. We'll close it out after this, and we'll do the box set, and then that'll be the end of the video. We got Mimi's Tales of Terror. This is, I think, bunch of stories by Junji Ito or something like that, with this girl and her boyfriend getting involved in some really odd situations. And then we got Betwixt, which has cover art by Junji Ito, but he didn't actually write this. He wrote a foreword in this, and this is actually by like 6 different mangakas from different places, I think different parts of the world. I think there's like an American duo in there, and then there's like, I think, a Chinese writer or something, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's even like an Indonesian writer. I could be completely wrong. If you know the actual writers that are in this thing, please let me know. But I know that it's like 6 different stories by 6 different artists, and not all of them are mangaka. I think 2 of them are like American comic book writers. But I really wanted to check this out because I like the idea of an anthology with a bunch of different artists, so that it can showcase, their talents and whatnot. And I think that's always fun, to have variety. Alright, so second but not last, we got some Kazuo Umez. We've got Cat-Eyed Boy, Volume 1, and these big, beautiful omnibus volumes. I'm going to be doing a video about Kazuo Umez, and we've got all of Drifting Classroom. We got volumes 1 through 3 of Drifting Classroom. Here's volume 1. We got volume 2 right here, and we've got volume 3 right here. There they are, all 3 volumes of Drifting Classroom. And then we also got Cat-Eyed Boy, and I'm going to be doing a video about Umez, and it's going to be through Orochi, which I have all of Orochi. I have all 4 volumes of Orochi. And now that I have these right here, between Drifting Classroom and Cat-Eyed Boy, I'm going to be doing a video about this dude. And then he's got another one too coming out. I don't know when. I think maybe either next month or next year or something. My Name is Shigeru, I think is what it's called. So maybe I'll wait for that one to come out, and I'll include that because I want to do a video that is about all of this dude's work that is in English. I think this is everything that's by him that's in English. There might be more stuff that I didn't know was in English, but yeah, I'm going to be doing a video. It's not going to be like my Tatsuki Fujimoto video that I did, like the Mangaka Spotlight video. It's going to be a different kind of a video, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be one of my bigger ones that I got coming up, so that's something that I hope that you will also be looking forward to, because this is like the grandpappy. This dude is like the grandpappy of horror manga, or one of the grandpappies, I guess, if you will, of horror manga. So if you're a fan of his, I think that you should definitely jump on one of these if you haven't already, or give me your thoughts and opinions on Kazuo Umez. Kazuo Umez, where does he stand for you on the I guess totem pole or whatever of mangaka, of horror mangaka, or just Japanese mangaka in general? We're closing it out with the Promised Neverland box set. I did a video about this thing, so I don't really feel like I need to say a whole lot about it. You can check out the video that I did, but this is the set, and I think that this is probably my favorite set. This has some of my favorite artwork, and there are the volumes. Since this is a thing where I show you the volumes in a set, it wouldn't really make sense for me to just show you the outside box. There are the volumes. I'm not going to pull them out. I already did that. I did that in my other video, so if you want to see that, you can. It's on the channel. I think that's like my last video before this one. No, it's not. It's not my last video before this one. My last video before this video was the one about Mama Yu Yu, which you should also watch. You should just like go down the line and watch all my videos so my watch time goes up. No, I'm only kidding. But Yeah, I love this box set, dude. If you get a good deal on it, definitely don't spend retail if you don't want to. If you can get a good deal, please get a deal. I'm sure there's going to be some deals coming up with the holiday. Christmas is like right around the corner. Literally next month is Christmas, so if you can get a good deal on this thing anywhere and not spend like some crazy amount of money, or even if you wait, I'm sure at some point in time you'll be able to get it for like $100. I got it for 130, but I'm sure at some point, yeah, you'll be able to get it for maybe like $100. But that's it. We've hit the end of this thing, and I couldn't be any happier because of this. I've literally spent like 2 hours talking about manga, and I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. And then my recording program decided to die, which sucks. And you have no idea how that felt for me, because I thought this whole video was just gonna be with camera audio, and that bummed me out so hard. And I'm so glad that it's not going to be that way, because I did not want to record this whole thing again from scratch. I was just like, dude, I'm just going to release it as is, because there's no way, man. I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired. but yeah, we did it. It's over. It's over, man. I'm delirious. I'm ready to go take a shower and go to sleep. But I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me. It means the world to me that you watch these videos, that you stick around, that you've stuck around for as long as you have. We've been doing this for 2 years. This channel has grown so much in 2 years, dude. And to see so many people come into this thing, and we're almost at like 800 subs. We're not near 800 yet. We're still like at 720 something or 730 something. But the fact that there's that many people here, when like I remember when this channel was like 30 subs, dude. And I think some of you were even here when this channel was like 30 subs. I think Danny was here when this channel was like 30 subs. Because that dude's been here for a really long time. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much for hanging out. Whatever you got going on in your life, I hope that it is for the best. I hope that everyone you love is doing well. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It means the absolute world that you take time out of your day to sit here and watch me ramble and go on and on and on about things. And you're probably like, when's this dude ever going to shut up? Probably tired of me. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope the rest of your day is solid. And yeah, I hope that you are doing well. Please take care of yourselves.
Yo, it's himself, the Shadowrunners clique, aka Sleep Allah. Take you on a mental and live for one day, y'all. Sheets, y'all. Guns, y'all. Yo, who got the guns? You got the coke. Hustling them through like big punch cholesterol before we croak. Rest in peace, but a blessed peace, and live to one day lay in shoots. Rap over beats and tell wild stories, the mythology mystery. Choke on your own misery. Fuck them, we're the wild bunch. Yo, I asked them if they spike a punch. This shit made me lose my lunch. Bro grabbed the rocket, I said chill before he cocked it.